I'm SP from Better Podcasting, a show dedicated to help make your podcast better. And it is part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other insightful and wonderful geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Welcome back to another episode of the Intellectual Podcast. I'm your host, David S. Dawson. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into the episode, I just want to take a moment to talk about the unfortunate events that happened in Paris, France today. The cathedral at Notre Dame burned down. It was terrible to watch on film. The flames were incredibly high. It sounds like one of the firefighters was injured battling the blaze, and all of the ancient woodwork in the cathedral has been destroyed. Just a sad thing to see so much history and so much beautiful artistry taken from all of our experience with a fire like that. But thankfully, it was all things, and nobody was killed in that tragedy. And hopefully they'll find a way to rebuild. It'll never be the same. It'll be something new, but that is life, right? Destruction and rebirth. So my deepest condolences to the French people. The cathedral is an iconic part of their capital, and the cathedral was an iconic part of Paris, and something they were very proud of, and it's an unfortunate thing that it's gone. Don't forget to check out more amazing podcasts at our affiliate network, the Gonna Geek Network, at GonnaGeek.com. There you can find podcasts that teach you how to be a better podcaster, and podcasts that cover all sorts of geeky, nerdy stuff, from comic books to films to really anything that your heart's desire when you're a geek. The Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeek.com. And now our interview with Tom Stajmiger and Cody Frank.
Talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. The Intellectual Podcast starts now.
We're here with Tom Stajmiger and Cody Frank. So we're going to be podcasting with these guys. And you guys are the two-person team of Pollen Path Entertainment, correct?
We are.
That's right.
As of January 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with that. How did your company come about?
Well, Tom and I met on the set of a short film called Happy Birthday Art, which was a very short film that about 2 minutes long, actually, ultra short. And it was an unusual casting story that Tom is better at telling. But the short of it is that we met. He invited me over for dinner, and we just really clicked. We became very good friends, and we said, over the course of several weeks and talking for at least, I don't know, hundreds of hours, we eventually said, let's start a film production company. It's the direction I was moving in. It was the direction Tom wanted to move in, and it just kind of made sense. But Tom can also chime in and probably fill in the parts that I missed.
I did a play reading for the major equity theater company here in the desert, CV Rep, in June of last year. And they hired me specifically because they wanted to turn one of them into a film. And we got to that point, and they didn't turn it into a film. But last minute, somebody had gotten ill, and they put in another very, very short thing to fill her space. Just at last seconds, I did that one, and that one they turned into a film. When I did it, there's a story of a gay relationship where one of the people cheats on the other one at a birthday party of their best friends. And everyone was my age. I'm 112. And I got a call one day saying, could you please come and screen test with somebody? We're gonna recast the part of your lover in the play for the movie. I said, great. And I walked in, and then was this 27-year-old Nordic god instead. I said, lovely, thank you, God. That makes no sense, but if you think it works, I'm in. And we did it. So it almost got recast with everyone else, much younger, but and we did the film, and it turned out quite good. It's gone to a number of film festivals already. And we were then cast as the love interest, except I was the one who was supposed to cheat on him, which at our age difference didn't make sense. We just changed parts at the audition, actually, even.
Mm-hmm.
He read mine, I read his, and they cast us, which just led to this amazing friendship that seems like 20 years long at this point, but it's been, I think, all of 5 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I would have guessed that you would work together for longer than 5 months. But yeah, because you guys come from totally different backgrounds, different parts of the country even. How did you get here, Tom?
So I grew up in Wisconsin, went to Washington, D.C. for work, New York for theater, and Cape Cod, Provincetown, Massachusetts to run a men's clothing retail store. End of all of those things was time to restart again at 112 years old and said, where do I want to be at this age and what do I want to be? And I've been desperate for a long time to come to the West Coast. I've never lived on the West Coast, and I love mountains. I'm like, all right, a one town in California that's actually fairly inexpensive to live, and it has mountains, and it has a lot of art scene. I'm in. Yeah. So I literally moved here about a year ago and thought that I would get involved in the theater community, which is why I auditioned for something for CV Rep. But I got here and went to a coffee place. And while in New York, everyone is talking about theater. Here, everyone was talking about their reality show pitch or their TV show or their film.
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'm in the wrong business here. I have no experience whatsoever in this business, but I must find my way. So when the rep company said, would you do a film? I'm like, absolutely, I'm in. And Cody had done a couple films already. So when we met, I had the business experience, he had the film experience, and it sort of became this oddly matched age-wise, great friendship.
It's a good match, though, because every artist needs a business partner. And I think that's one thing that a lot of artists are missing is that kind of business side.
But the nice thing, I think, it would be unfair to say that Tom is the business side and I'm the art side, because he's had a 40-year career history in theater. He directed tons of shows, had his own theater community. So, and the nice thing is in my real life, I run a business with my dad. So we really do balance each other out very well.
It's good. It's real good.
So, as Tom was just saying, you have a background in film. How did you, you're California native?
Yeah. So
how did you come to film and...
The simple answer is that I was working at my dad's business, working with him, and I had a lot of customers say, hey, Cody, you should go into modeling. And that never really interested me in the slightest, but enough people said it that I said, okay, I'm going to reach out to the talent agency, the local talent agency, Cindy Romano Modeling and Talent. And they said, well, we can't really submit you for stuff if you have no acting experience. So I took a course at the community College of the Desert here. And it was through that I got my start in my first play at the Desert Rose, which is a local theater here. I did a play, and then I said, hey, I really like this. So I spent about 2 years basically spending all my time in theater. And along the way, I got cast in a short film. I did the short film, and while I was watching the director, I thought, hey, this looks like something I could do. So I decided to direct my own film, which was the one that Tom mentioned previously called Nephilim, which I thought, oh, this will be easy. And then I learned that directing a film is not easy. And 8 months later and many, many, many hours of labor, I had a finished product. And
and weren't you also the actor in that as well?
I was. I wrote it, I directed it, and starred in it, which I guess you're not supposed to do unless you're Barbara Streisand.
That's a lot of hats.
It was far too many hats. But I did it, and that gave me a lot of experience, and it taught me a lot along the way. So I just submitted to festivals, and so far it's been to 6 or 7. It's screening at the Grauman Chinese Theater in LA, March 24th. So we're really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited.
How did you negotiate when you were in the scene? Because obviously, you could watch the playback, but how did you self-direct, I guess, is my question.
That's a really good question because I don't really know either. I had a pretty good idea what I wanted. And I think that was most of it because it was not a very emotional part. It was a very kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator type character. So the acting part wasn't that difficult. I think the hardest part was not the actual directing myself. It was later on in the editing room being very objective and having to cut myself out because there were areas in the film that dragged. And I thought, well, this isn't good for the story. So I had to cut footage of me, which I think is the hardest thing for anybody to do because we're all in love with ourselves. But in the end, I think it worked really well.
Oh, good.
It's probably good to have that kind of push for objectivity real early on. Because if you can do that quickly in your career and cut yourself out and be totally objective about it now, like you're just going to be better and better at it as you go.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Especially, I was so concerned about pacing because I've watched a lot of movies and even short films, and I often find that the issue is not the acting or the cinematography. Everything is wonderful, except sometimes they drag. And I was really concerned about my film being boring, especially because it was just me. So I felt like I was good at really trimming the fat from it.
Yeah.
At least I think so. I don't know if other people agree, but
well, I will tell you a little secret.
Well.
Having made short films for 20 years now, there are going to be people who tell you didn't do it well.
I know.
There will be people who tell you did. And
I know.
You just ultimately have to decide what's right for you and let it be that, because you can't please everybody. There's no way.
There's always the interest of art, right? Because everyone feels the need to tell you their opinion, whether you ask or not. And especially with the internet now, then they want to type, endlessly about their opinion of your art, whether it's asked for or not. And that gets to be the hardest part.
One of my closest friends in San Diego hates every film I make. She just doesn't get anything that I do, and that's fine. I've had to come to the understanding that I don't make my movies for her to enjoy, and that's okay.
I would have the worst time editing myself because I do the opposite, and I'm like, cut it all, burn it, let's start over. I'm doing my own reel takes a really long time because I'm like, not that one, not that one either. Nope, we're done.
I don't need a reel.
That's right, not that angle. No, lighting's not good there.
Oh my God, the bags. Me and Yo. So I actually just did a short film with the two of them, and me and the other actress, we were continuously like, how are our bags? Are they showing? Okay, good, great.
Makeup, touch up.
I tell actresses all the time, you want your DP to fall in love with you.
Yes.
That's right.
Because if the DP falls in love with you, they'll make sure you look right every time you go on screen.
Make sure they brought the door stay.
But if you tick off the DP, forget it.
Yes.
They won't say a word.
He had a very nice DP, and I believe he was being honest.
Well, the nice thing is we've already been editing the footage, and you both look wonderful in it. So there's nothing to worry about.
I wasn't fishing, but that was great.
Yeah, right.
So what's the name of your production company? Did I hear it right?
Pollen Path Entertainment, which for us has a fairly deep meaning. In this case, Cody explains it better. But we'd had a lot of talks about sort of authenticity and living without masks and really just presenting yourself without fear, which is the hardest thing to be. And so Cody knew of a story that sort of was that, and it instantly rang true as our name of our company, and probably a 5-minute discussion that we expected to take 5 months.
Yeah, so I had taken a class on mythology, and we read this book by Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is commonly known in Hollywood, Hero's Journey and all that. Yeah. And so he mentioned this Navajo idea of something called the Pollen Path. And it was this world, this way of being where everything you wanted to be on the inside, all your hopes and goals and aspirations, were completely in line with your actions in the physical world. So the idea was that when you're on the pollen path, everything behind you and in front of you is beautiful, and everything is completely authentic to you as an individual, which is something I think that everyone as an artist struggles with, because there's how we see ourselves and we want to be seen and what we want to do, and then there's the reality that we're faced with every day. So for us, being on the pollen path means that we are completely in alignment with who we want to be and what we're doing.
And while we both have day jobs that pay our bills, they're not what move our souls.
Right.
And so we're by day sort of not being authentic, trying to be such. And so as the company name, we really wanted to be focused from day one on that. And the pieces that we pick and the people that we work with will all be part of that community and that family that make us want to get up and go and do our work.
Yeah,
Honestly,
beautiful.
I love that that's what you chose as your name. When it showed up in my inbox, I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I'm totally into it. They found me like out of the blue. I didn't know who they were. I'm like, oh, cool name. I like it. Things with bees. There's a lot of things with bees happening in my life. Yes, I will respond.
And we also love that because pollen has a very clear meaning to most people and not necessarily a positive one for those allergic to it. So the fact that people look at it and think one thing, but yet it means something completely else is sort of a thing that I love also.
Yeah. Well, pollen is life. And,
Yes.
and regardless of hay fever and whatever else, pollen is life. And I like that, the life path, you know. It's like, that's why I had to ask. I heard the name and I was like, there's got to be a story.
And
Yes.
because we came from more theater, we said, well, we'll probably do some eventually, but it just doesn't pay much. And I've done a lot of cabaret work, which pays even less. And we're like, well, film is it, but we want to be open to presenting anything at any time that we choose to authentically want to present. So it became entertainment rather than Pollen Path Film or Pollen Path Theater Company. We wanted to be
that's why it's
open
intellectual
to anything.
entertainment. It's the same thing.
Right.
So like, you want to have that flexibility to pivot and do whatever is exciting and draws your passion, right? Like you don't
and sort of from an artist's perspective, you're always kind of patchworking a career.
yeah.
Right, where sometimes this is hot, sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's something else. But all those things together make your story, and entertainment will be the same thing.
Yeah.
We'll present certain things, and at times there won't be one of those things to do, and so we'll choose the other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Well,
cool.
speaking of all the projects that you guys have going, you guys have like, you're still editing the last short film, you said, but you're already launching into the next short film, and you have like multiple things already planned out. You have like a year's worth of things planned out. So what are the things? Tell us about the things you're doing.
Well, as you know, because you were one of our leads in our short film For the Love of Noodles, our goal really was to produce 3 high-quality short films. We actually put out calls online for short films through various sites that hook writers up with producers. We received over 150 short film scripts. We chose our top 3. And we thought, well, we want to produce 3 short films because it's going to let us get our feet wet and learn what it means for us to be producers and what roles we're comfortable in and which roles we don't really like and which things we want to pass off onto other people versus which responsibilities we want. Who are we as a team? So that was our idea, to create this portfolio of 3 before moving into production of features. So we've got For the Love of Noodles, which is kind of a sitcom comedy, as you know, about a daughter who brings home a very unusual house guest to her parents. Then we have another one, which we just moved into rehearsal and pre-production on, called Bunker, which is a very dark, heavy drama, which I'm actually starring in, and Tom is the director in, of a man trapped in a military bunker struggling to get out. The third one is called My Friend Dorothy, which is kind of a heart tugger about a unlikely friendship between a young man and a retired lady, and her encouraging him to pursue his dreams. Tom, do you have anything else to add on that?
No, sort of by company name, exactly that. Somebody who's living a life that's not authentic in the least, and he's not happy in his least, and there's something else that he wants, and his father said that's not a career, you need to get a real job. And he meets a different mentor who has a different opinion, who says, follow your dream. And so by the end, we feel we'll have 3 very different things between the sitcom and the serious and that we'll have then, for our case, we're self-funding everything to get started with, but by the time we get to full-length features, we need some money, help. So this will give us a portfolio to then take to investors.
Right.
And say, all right, here's what we can do. And for those that feel the work is worthy, then hopefully they'll find a way to help us on the next round.
And what is your timeline for these 3 films? When will you begin screening
I thought
them?
we would do our first one starting in June.
Sounds like they're on the path to be done before summer's out.
But now we'll have 3 done by June. So yes, once we got going, because the synergy is so good, we just found ourselves clicking along at warp speed.
Way faster than expected. We're filming Bunker March 3rd and March 17th, so that's coming up in less than 2 weeks. I don't know exactly when Dorothy's filming. Tom, do you?
Probably May-ish, because I'm on other business travel for much of April. So we'll come back in May and get the 3rd one in before it gets too hot in the desert.
And so are these following the same path as your first film and going to film festivals and things like that?
Exactly. So in Nephilim, I didn't stick to a budget. I dumped money on film festival submissions. And for the people in the podcast who don't know, it's easy to spend a lot of money on film festival submissions when you're putting in $50 to $60 to submit. So we've come up with a strategy. We're intent on only submitting to film festivals that have a prestige factor, like Cannes, Sundance, Toronto, Rain Dance, Slam Dance, those, in addition to ones that offer a monetary reward, because at this point now, we need to see money coming in.
So you can fund your next project.
Exactly. Do you want to talk about that, Tom?
So these will get us through the first half of the year. We've already had, oddly, some very nice attention from some film festivals without having seen any work, but are actually interested in very quickly seeing it and probably presenting it in June and in August, both in the U.S. and internationally. So that's been a thrill. We thought that would be the hardest thing in the world to attract attention from the festivals, and it hasn't been. It's been a very nice gift. At the same time, Cody's film filmed in a festival in LA in June that we went to, and saw another film there that we really, really liked. And we said that would make a great feature. It's an 18-minute short right now, but if they extended it, that would be really wonderful. I wonder if they have. So we stalked them and found them, and it hasn't been optioned by anyone, and was available, and we can't say a whole lot about it, but somebody who has a very prestigious job at a very prestigious studio in LA is the writer and director of it. His business partner is a well connected person in a very well-known television studio in LA. But because of their connections to their day jobs, they can't produce the things themselves. They can write, they can direct, they can do all kinds of things, but they can't produce material that would be in conflict with their employer.
Right.
But we can.
Exactly.
So we're going to partner with them.
That's great.
And that's great. I love that it kind of connects back to, like you said, the being just honest to who you guys are. Like, you saw this film that you really appreciated just to film, not even knowing who is behind it. And we're just like, hey, this is awesome. And then this great connection bloomed from it. So.
And connections that they have that we wouldn't be able to get in years and years of being in the business by ourselves.
Right.
So that was very exciting. And at the same time, because it's in the horror genre, which we understand, while profitable and Cody appreciates quite a bit, is not my desire to produce a film in that market probably ever, other than monetarily. However, for monetarily, I am willing to produce a whole bunch of them.
And Cody Frank, the other half of this, dearly loves horror as a genre, and it's one of my favorite genres of all time. So it's not as though there's just pure dollar signs in this.
Right.
I love the genre.
What is your favorite horror film?
That is a really hard question.
I'm really good at really hard questions.
Okay.
It's a theme on this show.
She's notorious for
I give the stumpers.
I would have to give you my... I would say The Conjuring.
Okay.
By, I think, James Wan, with Patrick Wilson and... I don't remember the name of the actress.
Yeah, she's been in a couple films
She
with Patrick
has.
Wilson.
But that's probably my all-time favorite horror film, is The Conjuring.
Why?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I thought that it did the possession motif better than The Exorcist. In addition, I thought that it utilized jump scares effectively in a way that I didn't see them coming, because usually I'm at the point where I can tell by the movement and dramatic music and the on-screen action that they're coming. I could never tell with The Conjuring. And to me, it was before it became really formulaic. Like, I'm always surprised every time I watch it, even though I've seen it like 10 times now. So those would be my reasons.
That's a good reason.
And it has Patrick Wilson, who's my favorite actor of all time.
Really?
Yes.
He's a good actor.
Whitney, what's your favorite horror film?
Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, I've watched a lot of horror films in my life. I love Stephen King, but I love his books more than what gets translated into the films.
Yeah, that's pretty much true for most people.
Man, that is a hard one. I mean, so if I go like back into like what terrified me as a child, because we just got done discussing on our last podcast that I started watching horror films at like age 4. Freddy Krueger, like I feared him at night when I went to bed. Again, here's a PSA for everybody out there. Don't let your 4-year-old watch Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a really awful idea. Like, you will not get them out of your bed until they're 10. That happened with me. Pet Sematary really screwed me up too.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, I think Pet Cemetery maybe, because to this day, like the idea of my pet coming back and like not being my loving pet, but being an evil entity that's going to rip my throat out, really, really fucks with me.
Yeah, I read that book before I saw the film. No, the film didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
It's never a good idea to read, I've learned. You'd never like the film if you read the book. So my lesson is to not read.
That's not entirely true. My strategy these days is to watch the movie, then read the book.
Yes.
And that seems to work out very well because then I can enjoy the book even more.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because there's things in there that I didn't get from the film.
And still appreciate the film for what it is.
Yeah. My favorite horror film's Poltergeist.
That's a good
That's
choice.
a good one.
Yeah. That
Really
one,
good.
That one scared the
Good one.
living socks out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I still have a hard time watching it even today. Just like get all
I think that scene where he's picking at his face was that just got
his
to
face
me.
all apart. Yeah. that's the nightmare in my head all the time.
Another good one from youth was Puppet Master with the little dolls. That was messed up too.
I never saw Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Now it's on the list.
I don't know that, again, I watched it whenever I was really young. And so just like the idea of dolls coming to life and doing horrible things just messed with my soul. It's probably not very good. This is like 6-year-old me saying, oh yeah, it's scary. I don't know. I haven't watched it again.
Well, Tom does have a secret that he has to share, that he does have some appreciation for this genre.
Some. So I have a 26-year-old son who's a professional actor. And so as he was sort of getting past 4 into the area where he could start to watch some films beyond Harry Potter, came the Saw series.
Oh, Lord.
yeah.
And so we saw all of them and couldn't wait for the next one. Probably also not very good as far as cinematography, as a cinema experience, but we loved them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I loved those movies.
See, the thing about horror that I find interesting is it's the one genre where audiences are incredibly forgiving of production value.
Yes.
They're incredibly forgiving of performance.
Yes.
They're just like, tap some inner primal fear in me and I'm good.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
And it's been that way since I was little and probably well before me and still going. As we talked
You
to
go all the way
just
back
keep
to
going,
the cabinet of
one
Dr.
after the other.
Caligari, and it's just about hitting these primal kind of raw animal instincts that we have for fight or flight.
Well, in the Bad B horror film, like there's an appreciation for the badness all on its own. I think of like Evil Dead. They were being really serious when they first shot that.
Yeah, and then they got really not serious as they kept going.
My favorite Rocky Horror. As campy as one can get.
Yep.
And so we're also looking for something maybe more in my typical hard tuggery kind of space for a second feature next year also. Since the other person will have written and directed the horror one, what can we do from our artistic side? And since my son is an actor and about Cody's age, we're looking for maybe something that they could do together.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So we're just trying now to start to put a word out on the street for scripts for that to start to read.
We really love buddy films.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, what is the site that you guys used to find your original 3 scripts?
Oh, God.
You said you used a couple of different sites.
Yeah, so I feel bad because I'm going to try to plug them and get their name wrong. Staffscreenwriting.com, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's nice because you can say, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a short film in this length with this many actors, with this many locations that can be filmed on approximately this kind of budget. And then the scripts just roll in.
And if anyone is listening to this podcast right now and is a writer, is that how they contact you? Is through that or?
Well, no, actually. Sorry, go ahead.
So we have on an Instagram page and a Facebook page so far. We'll hopefully get to a website soon. But email address is simply info@pollenpathentertainment.com. Okay. Which we both read regularly. We got 3 script submissions today.
Oh, wow.
So I was trying to go find the name of the place where they submitted from to be sure that we had it right for you. So we are available email, phones, and Instagram and Facebook currently.
And was I correct on the staffscreenwriting.com?
For screenwriting staffing.
Screenwritingstaffing.com. That's
we're wonderful. I said we expected to get a little bit more asking once before. I expected to get maybe 10, if we're lucky, 20 submissions. We got 150 in probably 2 weeks.
Oh, come on. You just got to wander around LA. Every waiter's got a script.
Exactly.
They'll just start throwing them at you.
When some of the other sites we found, the writers had posted but then you had to go dig and read. This way we could say exactly what it was we were looking for, and they would
really
submit
cool.
based on based on what they had in that space. And that worked better for us by
That's
far.
very cool.
And same goes for cast and crew. If people are interested in getting involved with your upcoming films,
Absolutely.
just hit you up at info@Pollen Path Entertainment.
Exactly.
Info at Pollen
Yes.
Path, and they were definitely looking to expand there. In the desert, there's sort of limited resources in that space. And we need, as we grow, we need more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done everything on the first one except cook the food that Cody's mom did for us.
Cody's mom is a wonderful cook.
She's a wonderful cook. But
Very
we
good.
did everything else. So that while that was joyous, we need to start to offload some of the fun.
Exactly. And I should mention to all the cast and crew out there who are listening, we receive headshots and all that. And we have a file where we keep everything. So if there's a project that's not appropriate in the next coming months, we want people's contact information because we want to reach out to people we can trust. So please reach out to us. We're always looking.
And the third film that we'll film in May is not at all cast other than Cody. So we were looking for all ages, all types. Well, not all ages, probably 25 and up or for the casting of what's needed. But lots of types from big parts to small.
Very cool.
All right.
Awesome. You got any more questions, Whit?
Where do you hope this goes? Like in your wildest dreams, what is this going to become for you guys? What's the big like white whale project where you're like that would be
Whoever
the
wins us the
crowning glory?
Oscar.
Got it.
No, I have my specific answer. My short film Nephilim, I want to see it turned into a multi-million feature-length film franchise. That is my white whale goal.
That is an awesome goal. I love it. I love both of these. He's like Oscar franchise.
Yes.
Done.
If they go together, so much the better.
Well, there's that, what is there? There's that line, I don't remember who said it, but shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll
You
land among the stars. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a
great,
good one.
Great quote.
I have a journal that says that on it. I get to see it on a daily basis.
I had a poster above my bed that said it.
I love that. There's a reason why we work together, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
let me ask
mine-
you this. How was it working with Whitney?
I thought she was great. When she came into the audition, we saw her there was a monologue in this film that she had to do where she had to get really upset, and it was so funny. And it's a comedy, so it's supposed to be funny, but we were both laughing. We were watching the audition tape and we couldn't stop cracking up. Tom, do you want to add anything?
The same, because there was one particular part that we were struggling finding as many candidates as we had for all of the other parts. And so we went website stalking to find candidates, and then found Whitney on one of them, who didn't publish her contact info on that one. So we had to really extra stalk in order to get her in.
Deep dive.
and she came in, and I think probably the last one we saw for the role, minus somebody who video submitted later. And we ended up with some great candidates, but there was no question as to who was the funniest.
Aw.
And
Thanks, guys.
just I'm a big energy person. Energy tells me a lot about people.
Yeah.
And we've been big on with Pollen Path, as you said from the start, of really finding people that we care about and we want to be part of our company.
Yeah.
And there was sort of an easy choice in the end.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I have the same with intellectual entertainment. I have the same kind of idea. Like, like we'll try anybody out, but you got to fit into the kind of personality and the climate of what we're trying to build. And Whitney was like an instant. Worked with her once, and I was like, "Be co-host of my podcast, please. Act in more films with me. Let's do everything we can together."
I'm feeling like the warm
wonderful.
fuzzies over here from all. It's been great working with you the past few years, David, and it was amazing working with you guys. It's one of the smoothest productions I've ever been a part of. You guys are so wonderfully organized, and just we were talking about energy, like so positive. Like came into set and everybody's happy. They're like, "We're gonna do this. Here's the schedule. Let's go."
And big on that, especially in short film, you're not paying scale to anyone. You're sort of just grateful anyone's willing to play with you at all, especially in your very first project. And so you really want to treat them back well, so that you start to build your community and your family.
Well, and I think that's the right attitude to have at the beginning, right? Because you're setting the tone for who you're going to be.
Exactly.
So, especially if it's a film where people are volunteering and you're not paying them and whatever, the least you can do is be professional for them, right?
And I've become a big proponent of the terms difference between fit in and belong. I found a lot of places in my life where I could act and mask my way into being accepted, but I didn't really care as much for them and they didn't really care for me, as opposed to places where are fewer, but where I actually belong.
Yeah.
Where I'm just me without any mask and I'm just Tom.
Yeah.
Right. And we want that company to be that. We want it to be the place where we are accepted as who we are and people who we feel the same about.
It's beautiful.
Whether they don't have to pretend to be someone else, they can just be them. Because that's when they give us the best work, especially on film. You can't hide it on film. You know, on stage, you can get far enough away from people sometimes and pretend, but not on film.
Yeah,
well, you guys really set a great environment, like for our working time together. And I think everybody felt super comfortable, which was evident like in between takes. We're all like cutting up in the kitchen, telling off-color jokes, among other things. But yeah, it was great. It was really great to work with everybody. And yeah.
We really appreciate you saying that.
Good energy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I would like to have you guys back on in like a year and just see where things are at and
That'd be great. We'd love to.
how these next two projects pan out and where you're at in your journey on your feature. And I think that would be really nice to just, since this is the start for you, it'd be cool to be able to just kind of revisit with you guys periodically and see where
That'd
you're
be
at.
awesome.
Because the show's really all about the journey as creatives.
We would really love that.
Yeah, I'd love to have that opportunity to come back and sit down with you guys again soon.
So the tattoo of the journey. So,
Oh,
so we'll be all about it.
we had our night
There's a lot
of
of
like
synergy in this table right now.
we did the round table of talking about all our tattoos and the stories behind them and
I got my
all the
tattoo up here.
interconnections.
Yeah, and one was the life that I had mapped out that just never became anything that I imagined it would be. So just throw the paper airplane and enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And then that became the tattoo.
Yeah, my dad taught me to not worry about anything. Throw stuff at the wall. If it doesn't stick, throw another thing at the wall and just keep throwing until something sticks. that was what
find
he
your
told
thing.
me.
And that's what I love so much about the artistic community, because that's what I'm finding a lot of people say. There's this idea that you need to go to school and you need to spend all this time studying and learning, but really you learn by doing, and the trick is to keep doing and keep learning, but never forget that you need to produce art in order to call yourself an artist.
Yeah.
And I really like that attitude because it's very go-getter and can-do. And you don't see that a lot because we all think we need to have these degrees and all these things, but really you just have to get out there and work and practice and learn.
Well, and so often like artists get caught up in the fact that it has to be sellable, perfect art, right? And it's like, no, it just has to be, like there's this great acting exercise called Do It Wrong. And I always start like any intro acting class with it. And it's like, take off your shoe. Students take off their shoe. Okay, now do it wrong. And you go through like 5 iterations and I'm like, okay, were any of those actually the wrong way to do it? Like someone out there in this great big wide world takes their shoe off that way. It's like, you can't do it wrong. It's art.
Exactly. It's just, are you expressing yourself honestly? And if you are, then you're doing your job right.
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing that we can't guarantee is ticket sales and revenue and income. All we can do is produce something that we're proud of.
Yeah. Well,
As long as we've
that's
done that,
kind
we've done our
of
work.
coming back to what we were talking about before, where you can't please everybody.
Right.
No.
So in the end, you have to do what's right for you with it, and just hope that it connects with somebody else on an emotional level.
Right.
You know?
That's exactly what we thought when we read the script. So
Yeah.
like, do we connect to this? If so, then we can produce it. If we don't, we can't.
Well,
And
if
if
you
you're
don't
doing
connect with it, there's no passion, and
Right.
people respond to passion, and they're turned off by lack of passion.
And you better be passionate if you're going to spend 300 to 500 hours knocking out a short film, because it takes time. You'd think, oh, that's 7 minutes. That's 15 minutes. That's easy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, nothing in this is easy.
No.
It all is, nothing's hard either. It's just a lot of time and a lot of effort. So you better love it.
Yeah, and oftentimes not a lot of return.
Right.
It's
Right.
like- especially, and I try to remind people that, it's a lifetime endeavor to be an artist, and it's a series of gigs. And
So you better enjoy the
so
journey.
you better enjoy the journey in that long lifetime path, because it's not till you're at the end that you can look back and see how it all connects together.
Yeah, how far you've come.
And stay open to the lessons you're learning along the way to let
Yeah.
it take you down the right path. Because if
Yeah.
you argue with that and try to get to the path you're going to force, you'll get there and probably not
Exactly.
be happy when you're there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's cool. Thank you guys so much for sitting
Yeah.
down and chatting.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so
Thank
much
you.
for having us.
It's awesome having you
Appreciate
on,
it.
and we will definitely have you back on in a year.
Thank
Can't
you.
wait.
It was a blast. And be sure to send us your short films. Now we're all curious.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that. Absolutely.
Very cool.
All right, thanks.
Film
guys.
swap.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching Intellectual Podcast with your ears.